Coach, how much of the playbook you guys have that just kind of, this is what we're going to do, juxtaposed to how much we actually have?
Yeah, I mean, we're working through that right now. I think it's been really productive. We're throwing a lot at the guys. We're giving them a good amount of installs over the last few days. We did the same thing in phase 2, so they're kind of hearing it for the second time. But we're throwing a lot of concepts, and that's by design. You know, we want to see how they think, how they operate under stress, how they operate kind of when bullets are flying a little bit. So it's been good for them.
And at what point does execution trump installation?
No, execution's always primary focus. That's why we're giving them a lot, so we can see how they can execute it, and then go back, watch the film, review it, detail the details on those. But it's been fun moving some pieces around and seeing guys in different spots, and again, learning. This is the part of that process right now in OTAs is learning the system, developing, growing within the system. So we're happy where it's at.
Mike, what were your impressions of Daniel Jones, if any, from afar? And then what have you learned about him in particular here, getting a chance to work with him?
I really enjoyed working with him right now. He's a smart kid. He works hard. And those are all things that I heard about him. But being able to see it in person has been great. And right now just developing that relationship with him is the most important thing. And out here in practice, seeing him operate, seeing him communicate with the players, and how he talks to each and every group has been really cool.
So you mentioned him being a smart guy. How do you in particular see that, like, for example?
Well, the amount of installs that we're giving these guys, the plays, the load that we're going to give our players as far as install-wise, he's absorbing it. He's able to spit it back out, get guys fixed and cleaned up on the field. So those are things that I'm looking for right off the gate, like getting guys lined up correctly, getting the huddle sharp, crisp. Like those are things that are important for pre-snap stuff.
You and Brian obviously hadn't worked together before, and you both come from different systems. So what's the process kind of been like of combining your thoughts and your process for like the playbook and all that?
We actually did work. I played for New England when he was in New England for a year back in 2014. So we had a little bit of a relationship, and we've been building that over the years, at the combines and texting in the off season and stuff like that. So Dave has been great. Our relationships can continue to build as we go through the phases.
Was it hard for you to leave Kansas City?
I think, yes, it's a great team. It was an awesome experience. But this opportunity was something that was special to me and my family. And so, it wasn't just something I took on a whim. I wasn't just going to go to any team. It had to be built the right way with the people, the Mara family, Dave's, Joe, the players that we had here. So it was all that encompassed. But of course, I have a lot of great relationships and great people in the Chiefs organization. I respect them and have a lot of respect for the coaching staff and the guys there.
How much does the potential to call plays factor into that? I mean, obviously, coaches, when they want to go to the next level, that's usually plays a significant part of it.
Yeah, I think Dave's kind of touched on that. Right now in phase 3, we're just taking it, kind of day by day. I'm calling the plays to the quarterbacks in practice, and then we'll let Dave's evaluate that, and he has every right to evaluate how he wants to handle that.
But you would like to do that at some point. I mean, in order for your professional advancement, or
of course, I think every offensive coordinator aspires to call plays. So yes.
And you have not done that before. Is that correct? Call plays?
I have not.
Is there a special quality to being a good play caller? You watched a pretty good one over the last few years.
Yeah.
What would you aspire to be in that role?
Yeah, I think the preparation. You have to have a feel for the game and understand what your players do best. Put them in a good spot to be successful. Understanding what the defense is presenting you and how you can attack it. So it's kind of all encompassing.
I talked a lot about you guys having to kind of meld your offenses. Like, how similar are they? Like, how do you decide what kind of comes, what doesn't?
That's been interesting. So when I was in New England with them, obviously the grassroots of it are kind of built from that system, but it's evolved so much since that time. And really, when I came in here and we were kind of starting talking about the offense, you realize how similar it really was when we were in Kansas City. Some of the verbiage is different, but that's been a great process. Like, we understand the concepts, we understand how we want to get it done, not just about communicating it and tightening it up and making it simple for the players.
He used the word explosive. How do you make an offense?
Sorry, say that again?
He used the word explosive. How do you make an offense that's going to generate explosive plays? Like, what's the keys to doing that?
Putting your players in the right spot and understanding that if we can find tells with the defense that they're going to be in a certain coverage or in a certain look, we can get a certain matchup, I mean, I've always believed it's a player's game, so giving our guys an opportunity to make plays downfield is a part of that too.
The position that you guys have probably turned over the most since you got here is offensive line. Where do you feel like that group is as a whole? And then you played quarterback, so how would you feel about having two young bookend tackles blocking for you, high draft picks but young guys?
First off, I think Joe and his staff have done a good job of adding competition to the room, right? Adding talent to the room. That's been great. We're in phase 3 right now. There's not pads out here, but I like the group. They're working. Bobby and Tony are doing a great job, phenomenal job of getting those guys in the right spot. So I'm happy where they're at right now. We still have a long way to go and improve, but it's a talented group, great personalities. So I love the room right now.
What's been your impression of Kadarius Toney so far, and what he can kind of bring to your offense?
Yeah, he's been really attentive in meetings. He's doing all the right things on and off the field. You know, I love his personality, and he's one of those guys that brings a smile to the room. You know, he has a bright personality, so he's been great to work with.
What about in terms of his skills? Like, what do you like about him as a receiver?
Yeah, he's a dynamic player. He has playmaking ability on the perimeter, inside, downfield, in short area. So, you know, he's one of those guys that you look for to make plays for us.
In Kansas City, you guys did a lot of sharing the ball with the running back, certainly. Different kind of guys. You do not have a Saquon Barkley type of guy, I don't think. A very high draft pick like that. What do you see when you inherit him, and can he be a workhorse for you? Do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Saquon is that type of player that you want to be able to give him the ball, and you want him to touch the ball as much as you can. I think he's dynamic out in space and has done a good job in this camp here, just doing his, being assignment sound, working on the fundamentals. So that right now, that's what we're looking for. And I think as we start to understand our players, understand who we want to be on offense, I think we have a good plan and a good vision for what that is. But right now on the practice field is what's kind of declaring. So Saquon's a part of that, and as well as the rest of that running back room.
And Mike, when we watch you, how much of what we will see is Andy Reid?
Well, I think what you're going to see here is the Giants offense. And I think, right now as a coaching staff with Dave's is figuring out how we want to put our guys in the right spots. But we're working towards making it the Giants offense, not the Bills or any of the other teams, the Chiefs. Those are great experiences you can lean on, but this is the Giants offense. So
how did he develop you, though? I mean, how are you different from having worked with him?
With Andy?
Yeah.
I think everyone has to have their own personality to it. I think those were great learning experiences that I had there. But that's in the past. Right now is today in phase 3. We have our installs. We have all our installs scripted for the remainder of the camp. So we're working within the daily installs. We're working out the details, making sure we can continue to fine tune those things on our offense.
Mike, what about Kenny Galladay? He didn't have a great year here last year.
Yeah.
I mean, what have you learned about him, and how can you kind of maximize?
Love Kenny Galladay, St. Rita guy. So my alma mater. So I have nothing but great things to say about Kenny. But he's done a great job. He's in that receiver room. He's one of those guys that you lean on for veteran leadership in that room. And there's several other guys in there too that bring that. So he brings that dynamic. Has been around. Has played some football and kind of that veteran experience there.
Mike, given that experience with Andy, Brian's also taken advantage a lot in the past of 21 personnel. How has that personnel shaped your kind of outlook as far as using the fullback or maybe 2 running back?
I think that's interesting because you can kind of declare some looks from the defense. I think that definitely opens up some certain packages on offense. Again, we're going to evaluate all of that on a week-to-week basis, on a daily basis, and understand who is that guy, how we want to use them, what looks are we going to potentially get from the defense, and how can we use that to our advantage. So it's absolutely on the table. So we'll just keep on evaluating.
In regards to Daniel, in regards to Daniel, how do you think you can help get him to the next level? In what ways can you, provide him support? And help him
we're very early in the offense and in the offensive program, really. So I mean, we're continuing to work daily on just our job, working his fundamentals, his techniques. I think as he gets more comfortable in the system and with what we're doing offensively, I mean, you'll see him continue to get better, and that's every player really. I think Daniel is a smart guy. He's going to work at it. You tell him one thing, he's going to spend all day thinking about it and working at it. And that's what I appreciate. And that's what all the coaching staff is appreciating.